support us by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So hello guys, ako si Philip,
Reggie,
at welcome sa isa na namang episode ng Liknayan Podcast. So this week meron ulit tayong guest na galing sa Philippine Space Agency or PhilSA. So last time may guest tayo na yung ginagawa niya ay more sa pag-analyze ng data or mga satellite images na nakukuha ng PhilSA. Ngayon yung guest naman natin ay involved sa technology side ng mga satellites sa PhilSA. So, ayun. So, interesting siya kasi yun, pag naisip natin yung PhilSA, yung una nating naisip ay sila yung gumagawa ng satellite. So, yung guest natin ngayon ay si Dr. Adrian Salces ba o Salces yung pag-pronounce?
hello everyone. Thanks for having me. It's Salces.
Okay.
Spanish, sorry.
So siguro Adrian, para masimulan natin yung pwede mo ba kwentuhan muna kami kung paano ka napunta sa PhilSA? Ano yung journey mo kung paano ka napadpad sa PhilSA?
Right. Sure, medyo mahabang story, but I started as a graduate student sa UP Diliman. I graduated 2013. Tapos, I decided na mag-pursue ako ng master's degree. So, naging advisor ko si then Professor Joel Marciano, who is now the current Director General of PhilSA. So, he was my first mentor, and it was around that time na yung Department of Science and Technology nagkaroon sila ng initiative na implement ng Space R&D/Capacity Building Program in the name of Philippine Microsat Program. So, isa ako sa mga, kumbaga, at that time, di ba, sa culture natin, we help our professor in some of the research activities. So, and also, faculty member ako that time. I was instructor while doing my doing my studies. So, yeah, I was part of the initial team na we presented to the OST proposal, yung mga ganun experience. Tapos, and then expose ako sa mga R&D projects niya. And then, sa 2014 nga, nag-start yung program. Initially, pumunta kami dun sa Japan. We were able to meet yung mga Japanese professors sa Hokkaido and Tohoku universities. Parang yun yung parang ligawan phase, di ba?
Oo.
Yeah.
Ginagroom ko nga mula pala dati pa nung pag-graduate mo kasi Dr. Marciano pala yung supervisor.
Yes. Yeah, so and then nung natapos ako ng master's, sabi sa amin, okay, merong that time kasi ongoing na yung Diwata 1 and then upcoming naman yung Diwata 2. And then nagkaroon ng spin-off yung Maya 1. So kailangan daw nila ng someone who will gain expertise naman sa satellite testing. Okay. And then, yeah, so doon naman ako napadpad sa another collaborating university sa Japan, Fisher Institute of Technology. Yung laboratory namin doon, ang expertise nila is on spacecraft environment testing and also nanosatellites. Ayun, and then I did my doctorate of engineering there for 4 years from 2016 to 2020. And then pagbalik ng Pilipinas, diba naghahanap ng trabaho, diba yung opportunity na ma-apply yung matutunan. So, initially, bumalik sa UP, under Stamina for Space program naman. Yun yung continuation ng Philippine Microsat program. And then, up until naging employee na ng PhilSA.
Interesting. May pandemic graduate.
Yes, tama. Pandemic.
Tinauso bang ngayon ng time na yung maghanap ng kahit ano. Lalo gumalaw ng bansa, Di ba ng 2020? So, naging interesado ko talaga sa space tech mula nung undergrad years pa, pati satellite.
Honestly, ang interest ko noong time na yon, si Sanoga is wireless communications hanggang masters. Tapos, yun, nag-emerge lang yung interest na yon nung
Works on the way.
nagkaroon ng Philippine Microsat program. Tapos naghahanap din ng yung application ng communication. So, in a way, nag-marry naman yung interest ko talaga sa wireless communication sa space engineering. Kasi space engineering, multidisciplinary siya, di ba? So, bawat isa doon na subsystem, it's like another area. So, and it happens to be communication. So, yun din yung naging assignment ko sa Maya 1 CubeSat project. I was in charge of the communications. So, nagamit ko pa rin yung pinag-aralan ko sa masters and undergrad.
So, nabanggit mo kanina yung space environment testing. Ano pala ibig sabihin nun? Ano yung ginagawa? Pag sinabi mong space environment testing?
Yeah, so normally kasi pag nagde-develop tayo ng product, let's say hindi naman siya for space, let's say for commercial applications or industrial applications, may mga tinatawag tayo na product qualification. Okay, just to ensure na bago siya launch sa market, i-deploy sa market, na siya, tested and proven with some reliability. So may mga standards that it has to go through para qualification. Okay. And similarly, ganun din sa space. Kasi sa space, diba, harsh siya in environment. So, yung extreme, yung temperature ay can go very low to minus 40 to even as 60. So, depende na lang kung anong space environment or anong orbit.
Parang may facility pa na kailangan puntahan para ma-simulate yung parang environment na yan. Tapos doon ginagawa yung mga test. Ganun ba yan?
Yes, exactly. So, yan, dun sa QTech, meron silang thermal vacuum chamber. Doon pinaparana sa satellite yung cycling, temperature cycling. Then thermal environment din siya. So kung medyo malaki yung spacecraft mo, importante yung temperature profile, di ba? Yung distribution niya across space. So, yan yung yung procedures for that. Okay. Yun yung kumbaga, yun yung specialization ng lab namin. Tapos meron din silang vibration machine. So, kapag nag-launch tayo ng satellite into space, di ba, nilalagay siya sa rocket. So, that's actually, they call it a controlled explosion. So, it's harsh for the structure of the satellite. So, yun, kailangan i-ensure na yung satellite, yung structure niya is rigid enough to survive yung vibration environment. Yun, actually, para tanggapin siya nung launcher, para maging safe siya dun sa ibang, yung may mga main payloads, hindi siya cause ng potential hazard dun sa main payload ng satellite. Kailangan i-undergo yung mga test na yun at kailangan mo i-provide na, with some confidence, we are able to meet the requirement.
Galing, no? That's why nga din ito kasi, di ba, yung kailangan mo malaman, kailangan mo i-stimulate yung environment ng space sa daming unknowns doon. Tapos, kaso successful yung mga launches, so, yun mo, madaming pinagdaanan na, siguro madaming.
Di yan sa Pilipinas ginagawa.
Currently, wala pa tayong local facilities for that. Kaya, mga previous satellite projects natin, we take advantage yung partnerships natin. Kasi meron, sa Japan, these are available already. So, yun.
So, mostly sa Japan yung parang partner.
Yes.
No.
So, yes. So, yung sa QTech, kung tala ko nag-aral, parang meron silang isang building doon. Tapos yung building na yun, siguro mga 1/2 of that doon naka-house yung thermal vacuum chamber, doon naka-house yung vibration machine. Para siyang table na sinishake, nalagay yung satellite o sinishake lang siya doon. Ganun lang siya. Tapos half of that, nandun naman yung clean room kung saan, mga 1/4 pala, nandun yung clean room kung saan ina-assemble yung satellite. Yes. And then another 1/4 is where students, parang student workspace. Students can do some like soldering, testing, functional testing, electronics measurements, mga ganun.
Sorry, interesting. Ano yun? Siyempre bago lang din naman kasi yung PILSA. So, ano yung i-group kung kailan siguro pwede magawa na din yung mga testing. Kasi sabi mo, tabletop lang naman din. Isip mo, alugin ko talaga satellite din.
Yeah. So, I think what I described earlier, yung vibration machine, it's a shaker. Tapos meron kang platform doon. Rigid yun. Tapos doon nilalagay yung satellite. Tapos, doon sa controller ng machine, you can actually input a vibration profile. Yung acceleration levels, tapos yung frequency, power spectral density nung yun.
So, mataas siguro yung
yes.
Amplitude. Kaya.
So, actually, we figured out na meron pala tayong sa isang government agency, meron pa silang vibration machine, pero kinikater nila ay mga electronics components for the industry. So, perhaps we're exploring right now on how we can make use of that. Of course, may limitations naman yun. It's not really meant for testing satellites. But right now, we're also making a proposal to establish our satellite assembly and integration testing facility. It might take a bit of time kasi medyo malaking investment siya. So, kailangan talaga siyang i-set up. But, nandun naman siya sa plans natin. And pag meron na yun, it would actually be easier for PILSA, for universities, and even private companies to pursue space engineering or R&D projects, and then kasi mas madali yung logistically pag locally available yung facilities kasi pupunta ka pa sa ibang bansa. So may cost benefit trade-off.
Ayos, sobrang ganda. Pati ito nga yung kasi space science, kasi sobrang multifaceted niya, ang dami niyang angles, di ba? Inisip ko pag nag-launch satellite, launch na, so wala, ito lang yung makikita ng mga tao, kaso yung, ang dami niya pinagdadaanan, environment testing,
True.
yung mga kailangan mong i-deal with logistics, pati collaborations muna.
True.
Kasi ang dami involved, di ba? Kasi nagpapanggap kami na physics podcast, kaso nado naman kami sa lahat talaga eh. So, so true. Mas engineering nga yung talagang yung protagonist dito eh.
Yeah, that's very true. And then, di ba, pag nag-launch na yung satellite, nakikita yung, successful siya, nakaka-receive ka ng signal. Pero, all the science, engineering, and administrative management aspects that we have to go through to be able to pull it off until launch. And even in operations, it's a lot of work to do. Yeah, that's why, sa space, ang dami talagang roles na kailangan nandun. Hindi lang science, hindi lang engineering, but also project management and others.
Ganda.
Pero paano pala yan gumagana ngayon sa setting ngayon sa Pilipinas? So for example, sa PILSA may ginagawang research or parang gagawa ng satellite. Ano yung pag-design, tapos parang paggawa ng prototype sa Pilipinas ginagawa, tapos i-ship sa Japan, tapos doon gagawin yung environment testing, o sa Japan ginagawa lahat?
So, ngayon, one of our approach is to also start fostering our nascent space industry. So we have several projects now, and some of these or most of these is really trying to engage yung local companies sa manufacturing, diba? And yung mga companies that are engaged in embedded systems development, aerospace companies sa manufacturing and design na rin. So, but initially, most of our work is, ang design is sa PILSA. And tapos, we'll contract the manufacturing sa local companies. And then integration, pag na-deliver na siya, we'll perform the assembly, integration, and functional testing. Tapos yung space environment testing, this is where we have to look for partners na may facilities. And Japan is just one of that. Of course, we're also exploring other partnerships sa neighboring countries.
But it makes sense din CMT kasi diba ang lapit lang ng Japan.
Yes. Pero meron din kaming project na yung Mula Satellite Project. It's done in partnership with the UK company, United Kingdom small satellite company. That's SSTL. And then it's a satellite project in an industry setting. Tapos our approach there is mas complex siya na satellite, 160 kilograms siya. It's a mini satellite already. Larger than our Diwata satellites of around kilograms and Maya satellites na hanggang around 1 kilograms. And it's another learning opportunity. So we sent there our 16 PILSA engineers to work with the industry engineers UK. So together they design, develop, and test the satellite. But of course, kasi nga medyo mas mahirap siya. So parang may know-how sharing and transfer na nangyayari while doing that. So yeah, so marami siyang inihit na objective, building and later operating an operational commercial grade satellite. And then meron din siyang know-how sharing and technology transfer. So pagbalik nila sa Pilipinas maybe next year, they then have the know-how on how to build it and
investment.
Yes, and we have the license to remanufacture them locally.
Okay.
And hopefully may opportunities in for local companies to manufacture some components of that. Yes. Yun. Right. Yeah, different subjects and different approaches.
May joke ako yung yung unang environment testing talaga ng satellite is yung kapag dinadala siya sa ibang bansa. Diba, sakay mo na tricycle, sakay mo nga plano.
Tama. Yung vibration nun, diba? Ba't ibang vibration environment? Yeah. Yung sa mga
Yung tricycle, paano pa kaya yung rocket, no?
Hey, mga anecdotes dyan, but kidding aside, pag medyo mamahaling satellite, kailangan mo siyang i-transport using specialized vehicle, may damping mechanism, tapos may protection from shock. Kasi ayaw mo naman na direct pa lang sa transfer. But meron akong anecdote, yung Maya 1, ito yung first Philippine satellite. We actually delivered it, turned over it to JAXA. We hand carried it from Kyushu na nag-bullet train papuntang Tsukuba. Tokyo muna tapos Tsukuba. So lahat yung train, tapos tinawakan namin yung may Pelican case, nandun yung satellite. And tatlo kami actually kasi tatlong countries yung kasama. Medyo tense yung experience na yun. Nagkamali ka lang na.
First satellite satellite na Pilipinas, tapos bullet train.
Yeah, kasi yun yung pinaka-efficient that time. So, tsaka squad kasi na, personally hand over namin siya kay JAXA.
Saan naman yung kasi hindi pa ako nakasakay ng bullet train yung ilang beses naman ako bumisita ng Japan. Hindi ba siya malog mo. Smooth yung takbo niya.
So, very smooth naman siya overall. Siyempre, may mga may mga times na, let's say, pag mo siya start siya, tapos
Yung acceleration niya.
yung initial,
Tawag mo yung
departure. Well, very convenient talaga ang Shinkansen. Medyo pricey lang siya.
Yung mukhang unforgettable experience yun.
So, nakaka-tense. Tapos, on top of that, yung tense na, pagdating sa JAXA, tatanggapin ba nila yung shuttle ko? Kasi grabe yung scrutiny nila dun sa sa cleanliness, kung may mga dust ba dun. Minor, irregularities. So, yes.
So, bali, pala? So, syempre, yung more ka kasi sa engineering. So, yung parang pinaka ginagamit niya na concept sa engineering or sa physics sa paggawa ng satellite mismo? Parang, alam mo kung for example, pag-usapang mga kuryente, syempre mga Maxwell's equations, gano'n. Kung sa paggawa naman ng satellite, ano yung parang main na physics concept na yung parang building block talaga mismo ng buong paggawa?
Actually, pwede kasi nating tingnan ng multidisciplinary yung mismo activity ng pag-build ng satellite. Kasi it has several components or subsystems. We call it, satellite can be a complex system, right? So, meron siyang mga subsystems. It can have, yung structure is a mechanical subsystem. Also, part of the mechanical subsystem is we have mechanisms for our deployment, right? And then, but it also has electronic subsystem. So, meron siyang antennas, it can have radios, it can have onboard computing subsystems, parang brain ng satellite. It can also have cameras, di ba? Yung optical payload. So, if you look at the team that works on it, you will see diverse engineering and science backgrounds. So, it's a team namin, merong physics, may applied physics din, may materials engineer, mechanical engineer, electronics. So, name it, lahat sila ay may, hindi ko na ma-mention lahat ng mga disciplines, pero inherently multidisciplinary talaga. And they have to work together, to ensure na, first of all, mission is well-defined, and the satellite design is kumbaga, it achieves the purpose or the mission for which the satellite project is implemented. And then, yung mga yung mga design, development, verification and testing activity. So, siya, the way it works is it's a hierarchical din siya in a sense kasi kailangan kasi yung mga subsystems individually they have to work, but then they have to work as a system. So you also have a system engineer that will ensure that the whole satellite kumbaga it's a proper technical solution for the problem for which you want a satellite to address. So, may mga nakikita kasi ako na clips sa TikTok tungkol sa movie. Hindi ko alam yung title ng movie. Basta may isang black woman. Tapos parang may ila-launch na rocket. Tapos may tao. Tapos parang yung ginagawa nila bilang mga physicist ay
i-compute yung trajectory.
Yes.
Di ba ilalunch yung rocket tapos mabalik, i-compute nila yung trajectory ng re-entry ng ng kung anumang pod para ma-recover yung satellite. So inisip ko, may mga ganun din ba na ginagawa? I mean, nabanggit mo naman kasi na may mga physicist naman sa team. So ano ba yun? May mga
Absolutely.
Trajectory.
Ito na yun.
Yeah.
Ito na naman.
So, kasi pagka, let's say, di ba yung space mission, meron pa ground segment, meron pa space segment, meron pa rin launch segment. So, portion ng overall concept of operations and mission. So, syempre yung mga nagde-design ng rocket, kailangan nila ng simulations to predict and actually control yung magiging actual trajectory ng rocket. Sa space. It's a lot of control system work kasi kailangan nilang ma-deploy yung satellite or the payload of the rocket at the correct orbit at the right time. So, there's a lot of analysis and simulation work there. Pero ganun din sa satellite. Kapag nag-optimize tayo, nag-decide tayo kung ano yung tamang orbit na kailangan piliin to be more responsive dun sa mission. So, may mga orbital analysis and simulations na ginagawa para ma-decide yung ano yung parameters ng orbits, altitude, ano inclination, mga ganon. So, Kepler yan.
Right? Yung sa movie, kasi yun yung time na wala pang computer, tapos ginagawa nila kamay lang.
Okay. Yeah.
Alam mo yung title ng movie kasi di ko malala
Kung ikukumpara mo sa ngayon, di ba, lahat ginagawa na lang yan by computer, tapos dati ginagawa nila by hand.
Yes, that reminds me of a movie din, isang Black American. May edition na yes, so parang mga human calculators. Pero man, it's much more efficient, diba? Pero yeah, you can imagine yung painstaking computations na kailangan nilang gawin. And even a slight mistake, diba, can have tremendous effect dun sa success ng mission.
Natutuwa ako dun sa na-highlight kasi diba yung pagiging multidisciplinary nga nung field ng paggawa ng satellite. So wala talagang concept na singled out galing lang sa isang field. Talagang lahat pumapasok na nakakatawa. Kahit pa physics podcast kami, so wina-validate namin yung physics. So kanina nga, natatakot ako na sabihin mo na walang physics na ginagamit.
Meron.
Kung gano'n naman, okay lang din naman talaga. Kasi minsan na-get talaga yung physics, akala mo Young's modulus lang o mass trajectory equations lang. Hindi, sobrang komplikado niya, di ba?
Yeah. We're not even talking about the space exploration yet. Pag pumunta ka sa space exploration, di ba?
May pa yun, mga environment pa yun. May mga debris. Ano ba yun? Mamaya na lang kung ano.
Itanong mo na. Ano yun?
Isip ko kasi ito yung isang issue ngayon sa mga space debris.
Tama yan. Actually, isa sa mga issue ngayon sa space activities in general is yung medyo crowded na. At, di ba, with launch ng large satellite constellations, tapos yung mga ibang satellites dati na hindi na functional ngayon, nagiging debris na sila. Some of them, talagang wala ka ng control kung ano yung magiging trajectory na kasi they're dead satellites. So, isa sa nagiging issue ngayon sa space community is yung space situational awareness. So, kaya may mga may mga infrastructure and facilities and may mga international bodies that try to come up with mechanisms to improve yung space situational awareness. So that pag if ever mag-launch ka ng rocket or magla-launch ka ng spacecraft, mapipredict mo yung possible conjunction. Yung conjunction ng mga satellites with each other and with space debris, tiyatry natin siyang i-predict. Tapos kung may predicted na potential conjunction, ini-inform yung mga operators ng mga satellites na yun for them to make some adjustment in the path or the trajectory. So may mga propulsion system. So and some of the regulations again is nagiging strict na sila, diba? So some of the regulations in some countries already require you to have a propulsion system para maiwasan yung awareness deprivation.
Exciting din sa calculations or hindi exciting so, diba? Kasi hindi na pwede yung idealistic na calculations lang dito eh. Kailangan na-count mo nasan yung mga debris tapos nakakalat yung mga yan eh. So kailangan talagang exciting yung science kahit dyan lang sa launching side.
Yung pag-launch ba, ginagawa sa Japan? Or sa ibang country pa? Kung maglo-launch ng satellite?
Depende kung alin yung napili na launch provider. The way it works kasi ngayon is you procure the launch service. So may mga launch service provider. Tapos yung mga launch service provider, they also have the partnership with launch vehicles. So depende kung saan. Kung SpaceX, yung pinili mo rocket for your satellite, malamang from the US yung yung launch nun. But yung, let's say, I think yung Diwata 2 was launched to the H2A rocket of Japan. So, launch for Japan. So, it really depends kung alin yung napili mo launch provider and the rockets.
Pwede ba ako mag-segue dun sa SpaceX? Kasi di ba sobrang ang hype nila kailan lang. Kasi yung may engineering feat sila nung sinalo nila pabalik na yung rocket.
So, it's a big news sa the space industry.
Diba?
And yeah, magaling. So it's kasi dati ang fit ng SpaceX is meron silang rocket that can na-reuse nila after let's say after ma-deploy yung payload nila, it can re-enter. Tapos babalik siya din sa launch pad.
Yun nga.
Yeah. Pero ito, ang difference nila is bumalik siya dun sa parang tower na
galing mismo.
Yeah, dun siya galing. Tapos dun siya I forget the term, nag-dock.
So in terms of parang pag-train ng mga engineers sa PhilSat. So paano nangyayari yung mga yun? So kailangan employed ka muna sa PhilSat, tapos kung may mga parang gusto silang mas ma-develop na specific skill set, may pipiliin sila na employees para paaralin abroad. Ganun ba yung system?
Yeah, so kasi siya, most of our projects ngayon are project based. So let's say isang project merong plan gumawa ng, let's say, formula, kailangan siya mag-guarantee na it will work operational in an operational level. So kailangan na ng engineers na may experience na to start with previous projects to build the satellite. But at the same time, may mga local engineers na naiwan that will either shadow or may schedule sessions kung saan yung mga senior engineers na nasa UK, they will gradually share what they have learned when they also train them sa mga sa design approaches, and then those na natutunan na before and then natutunan pa nila. So it's parang sa culture na senior and junior mentorship.
Okay. Yung iniisip ko kasi parang scholarship siya na parang may pipiliin na scholars galing mismo sa PhilSA, tapos isasend nila for mga PhD programs para mag-aral. So walang gats. More siya mismo sa parang skill set na training sa through
internal. Okay. So maraming mechanisms. I think so yung na-mention ko lang kanina is yung parang project-based na ginagawa mo siya as part of your work, at the same time nakakapacitate ka na rin from those who are more experienced. So those are pagka-project-based. Pero syempre may scholarships din, scholarship program si PhilSA na available not only to I think yung ADASTA scholarships program, available naman siya for anyone, whether you come from, I think especially kapag galing ka sa academic institutions, tapos gusto mo pursue and mag-earn ng advanced degrees in space-related disciplines. Actually, both science and other related disciplines. Yeah. So, and then, of course, meron din kahit anong agency, di ba, may mga learning and development naman na program. So, may even skills up people can also avail of the scholarships. So that's how in ganong programs are currently established. So hopefully may mga masend tayo na PhilSA personnel to abroad to study more on space science and of course engineering and further sa policy, sa governance, diplomacy. So kasi even sa PhilSA may mga bureaus din tayo and divisions na concerned on the space policy, diplomacy, governance. So, yes. Very diverse siya na field.
So, pala, sa Pilipinas ba, merong for example, meron bang kurso sa college na parang space engineering, ganun, sa Pilipinas? Or parang pwede kang magtrabaho sa PhilSA or kahit anong space related with any engineering degree?
Actually, kapag may engineering degree ka, of course, pwede naman. Actually, karamihan sa mga technical personnel namin ngayon sa PhilSA, they don't necessarily have a space engineering degree as undergraduate. Actually, hindi siya common. So, kasi sa Pilipinas, wala talagang space engineering per se, or like astronautics. What I know is merong aerospace engineering. So it's actually a mix of aero and astro. So aerospace engineering. So, pero yun, may mga existing naman na aerospace engineering. Though I'm not sure if lahat yun ay specialized na talaga space, but kahit anong engineering background or science background, diba? So as long as you have the skill set that will allow you to work on certain aspects of project, then pwede naman. And meron namang training pag pumasok ka, diba? Yes.
Technical background lang siguro.
Technical background.
Yung pinakamahalaga naman din kasi is trainable, di ba?
Yes.
You train with a technical background, capacity to learn.
May tanong ka pa ba, Reggie? Or lang?
Masaya lang talaga. Ako masaya talaga ako sa yung kapag every time napapakinggan ko yung pagiging multidisciplinary ng space research. Kasi feeling ko lang, sa side ko lang naman kasi, di ba, kami ni Philippine physicist, galing naman sa, mga NIP alumni kami. Tapos, di ba, kahit sa, feeling mo portrayal lang din sa movies nga, pag may nilalunch na rocket, yung physics yung naka-highlight, eh. So, overlook yung madaming behind the scenes na contribution ng engineers, ginawa yung satellite, may environment testing, may policy na dinaanan, may sumakay ng bullet train. Yung mga ganong kwento na natutuwa ako na highlight sa yun. Gusto natin bigyan ng emphasis din sa part na yan. Siyempre, physics ay part. So, yung multidisciplinary talaga yung space research. Lahat ng fields welcome. So,
Ay, ganun pala, may tanong pala ako. Ano yung, kasi di ba, madaming magkakaiba yung size ng mga satellites, di ba? So, ano yung mga additional na mga bagay na nilalagay nyo sa mga ibang satellites? Bakit mas malaki siya? Parang, ano yung goal? Ano yung parang gusto nyong makuha sa satellite na to? Bakit yung mga satellite na yan mas malaki, mas mabibigat? Ano yung mga sensors na nilalagay doon? Ano yung parang gustong ma-measure ng satellite? Bakit yung iba mas malaki, yung iba mas maliit? Ano yung mga magkakaibang bagay na mga nami-measure nila?
Yeah, so lagi naming sinasabi that when we build satellite, we always do it because they address a certain need or requirement ng stakeholders. So yung yung needs and desires no stakeholders now na-translate natin siya into technical requirements, right? And it always starts with that, defining ano yung mission statement no ng satellite, tapos you break it down into smaller objectives, tapos with the objective magde-decide ka na ngayon kung ano yung mission parameters, tapos yung system level requirements, and then down to subsystem level requirements and component level. So I mentioned earlier, hierarchical kasi siya. Tapos based dun sa technical requirements na na-derive natin from stakeholder requirements, din natin decide anong kailangan na payload for the satellite. So, kung Earth observation, kailangan mo can be optical instrument, or it could be radar. Kung communication naman, it should be communication payload. So, and yung requirements for the mission or the payload, okay, it drives the design and the other technical requirements for the whole satellite. So you always look at first yung payload that you need to put up there para mag-provide siya ng could be a technical service or maybe providing images, right? Or providing communication service. So it always starts with that. Tapos depende kung gano'n ka-detail, of course, the nitty-gritty of that, it will determine kung ano yung kailangan mo na, tawag natin is bus. Yung bus yun yung electronic and mechanical subsystems of the satellite that will support the operation of the payload. So it will provide power, it will provide computing, it will provide structural support, environmental protection. Tapos kung kunwari, kailangan natin ng camera na mataas yung, let's say, resolution, right? So kailangan mo din ng high resolution na camera. Pero if you don't have if you don't have a platform or the satellite that doesn't allow you to point accurately dun sa target na let's say may gusto kong i-image na area or location, So, kailangan yung satellite mo meron siyang accurate na or precise na attitude control and calibration system. So, if kailangan mo ng ganon na accurate, I call it ADCS, so kailangan mo rin ng mga, kailangan mo rin ng sensors, sun sensors, star sensors, different levels of accuracy. Kailangan mo rin din ng actuators. Like, let's say, magnetorquers or reaction wheels. Yeah, para makontrol mo ng maayos yung attitude ng satellite. So, these are just examples. Marami pang kailangan na i-consider. Yes.
Okay.
So, nasagot na yung question mo or you want to elaborate?
So, depende talaga sa need kung sino yung. Okay. So, para sa mga viewers natin, sa mga estudyante na may dreams na magtrabaho sa PhilSARS na kahit anong space-related na industry, ano yung advice na mabibigay mo?
Right. Sige. Admittedly, hindi ako magaling magbigay ng advice. Yeah. Pero, cliche at least, it might sound, yung from inspired by my own experience na lang siguro is di ba, space is very diverse area of endeavor. So and everyone has a possible role to play and make contribution. But maybe it would start kung ano yung passion mo. So scientists or engineers or researchers or whatever you may be in. So there is something that excites you, which will be excites you to explore some more. So yun. So if you have a passion for space, can be science, engineering, technology, or law, space law, space diplomacy, governance. So, yun lang. I will just say, push through it, and you certainly have a place in space. There's a space for you. And we need you kasi
Maliit pa.
Yeah, maliit pa lang tayo actually sa Philippines na nag-engage into space-related activities. And right now, sa PhilSA, we maybe 200 people, but there's a lot of heavy lifting that we are doing. So, kasi bago pa lang, di pa completely built yung ecosystem. Well, meaning, maraming bagay na kailangan sa PhilSA muna. Rather than sa mga mas mature kasi na space ecosystem.
Space agency.
Yung space agency, they also do R&D, yung mga futuristic na future-proofing activities. But they have universities, companies, diba? That's more of the other activities as well. So ayun, and yan, so we will need more a pool of space professionals, kumbaga, that will serve as our workforce as we build our space ecosystem. But passion, maybe it's not enough. So you also need grades, diba? And grade to in order for you to follow through, diba? So, and then kapag if ever sometimes it won't always work for you, then you also need resilience to that para bumangon. That's one for you. So yun lang. Actually, I adopted it from experience as well as from recent reflection with some readings na parang formula to success na. Pero anyway, everyone has their own experiences, di ba? Pero yun, passion, grit, and resilience. And then, bigay ko na.
Ako. Agree din ako doon. So malaki pa yung room for improvement kasi bata pa yung Pilsa.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dom Reggie, and
God.
So I think madami na tayong napag-usapan and magandang point na rin na i-end natin yung episode sa advice ni Adrian tungkol sa passion, grit, and resilience. So nakaka-relate naman tayo lahat dyan. So I think yan lang, and kung nagustuhan nyo yung episode, huwag nyo kalimutang mag-like, share, at subscribe, at see you guys sa next episode.
thanks for having me.
Please like and subscribe. See you in the next episode of the Liknayan Podcast.